We're grateful for who God is. That list of names given, holy and mighty and all of that, that's just the beginning of things. When Jesus was jousting with the Pharisees, Jesus made it clear to them that when you start talking about me, you're talking about something that surpasses Abraham. Because before Abraham was, he said, my name is I am. In other words, when you open up the book to look at all of the good things that a person can possibly be, mighty and triumphant and awesome and holy, he says that that's just the beginning of it. He had to close the book.
Who am I, America? Who is Brother Maurice Thomas? Brother Maurice Thomas, I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky. There's been a lot of gang activities in Louisville, Kentucky. I didn't necessarily get caught up in that, but it was a lot going on. If everybody knows that Louisville, Kentucky and Memphis, Tennessee is on first 48 every day. But yeah, I was grateful for my mom that I never did get caught up in that situation. I remember growing up in a single parent home. My mom had me in church sometimes 8 days out of the week. So I grew up in a great home. My mom passed away now back in 2006, and my father's still living. And my father, he really wasn't there. So you would say, I grew up in a single parent home. A lot of times they say kids suffer from ADHD or ADD, which is attention deficit disorder, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. But one of my mentors said that a lot of men, they male by birth, but they're men by choice. He said, but a lot of us suffer from what we call ABT, which is we ain't being taught. So I was never really taught to be a man, but I just looked at different things like my brothers and my uncles and different friends that they had a lot of women, and I thought that was super cool. So I started chasing after what I see my brothers do, what I see my uncles do, and I started learning my identity and who I was in women. And it carried over to this one girl that I liked. I think I was in 6th grade when I first got into wrestling. She liked this other guy that was the captain of the wrestling team. And I was like, man, I like this girl. I was like, so if I go out for the wrestling team and I kick his behind, she gonna like me. Of course, I go out for the wrestling team, I kick his behind, and now she still didn't like me. So, but I wasn't wasting time because I learned that it was something I was good at. I ended up playing 9 sports, ended up going to high school and being the captain of the wrestling team. So we eventually moved from Louisville, Kentucky because my grandmama had got sick. And so we moved from Louisville, Kentucky here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And that's where I started getting well known for sports. Ended up playing 7 sports and stuff in high school and in college. But yeah, growing up though, it was a lot of things going on with gang activity. But my mom was always such a hard worker. Sometimes my mom would go without eating just to make sure that me and my sister was able to eat. I remember the days where we were always riding the bus as a family. She would have us under her arms, carrying us. So yeah, it was a lot of different stuff going on in Louisville, Kentucky. Still to this day, I've got family members that's done been locked up, and for life, I got family members that's done got killed. All in Louisville, Kentucky, just like I said, a lot of different things going on, but I was grateful that I stayed in sports so I didn't get caught up in those activities. Now, mind you, I fought a lot. I was the type of person that I would fight for any reason. You could sneeze and you'd be like a mile away from me and I want to fight you because I was eating my sandwich. So yeah, I stayed in trouble for fighting. I was kicked out of school for fighting here and there. Every year I would get in a fight for some reason. I remember one time in 6th grade, the first day of school, I got into a fight the very first day of school. And then eventually I ended up getting kicked out of school. I had to go to another school. And my mom, she beat the crap out of me. Now, even though I was like a superhero to myself, to all my friends, whooping everybody, man, my mom, man, she wouldn't play. That's one person I couldn't whoop. So the next year, we'll be in 7th grade. And my mom was like, baby, this is a new school. This is a new start. You got another opportunity. She said, I promise you, if you get kicked out of school, the first day of school, I'm gonna beat you. The beating you got last year, it's not even gonna be compared to what I'm gonna do to you. So I go to school, things going smooth. The first day of school, beautiful. I'm getting along with principal, the teachers, other students. The second day of school, not the same story. I mean, I got into it with a kid. I don't even remember what it was for. I'm sure it was something that he told me that he didn't like my mom, even though I didn't realize he didn't even know my mom. And after we got in a fight, of course, he still didn't like my mom. Now he don't like me either because I done beat this kid up. But I get kicked out of school, second day of school. And my mom, my mom had the nerve to still beat me. And I was like, Mom, at least I was obedient. I mean, I didn't get kicked out the first day of school. But yeah, I started playing. Yeah, but that's one thing that kept me out of a lot of trouble is playing sports. Eventually we move on to Tennessee. And I get into track and wrestling and football and basketball. And I was pretty decent at most sports. I even tried out tennis and cross country, which wasn't my greatest sport, but I tried it anyway, just so I could keep my athletic ability going when wrestling season or when football season wasn't going on. So, who is Maurice? Maurice is a kid at heart. No matter how old I get, I'm full of life. I'm full of just anybody that I meet. If you with me for a few minutes, if I haven't said something positive to you, even as a kid, now don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna say something positive to you and probably be fighting at the same time. I was the type of person that if I beat you up, I felt bad for you as a kid, and then I try to be your friend. I know a lot of fights I used to get in. My sister would start a lot of fights, and because of the love that I had for my mom, my sister would sometimes come and say, Maurice, man, sister was talking about mama. I'm like, oh. So without asking questions, I go over on the playground and I hit some dude in his jaw. She was just probably lying because my sister just didn't like certain people because she was just mean like that. But she knew the love I had for my mom. You're not gonna talk about my mom. I don't care who you are. So I stayed in fights. Can I say that I lost a couple of them? No, I'm probably not gonna tell you that. It was something that wasn't the outcome, wasn't what I wanted it to be. But I'm not gonna say I lost the fight. Maybe I didn't get the best of them like I thought I could have, or like I thought I should. But again, like I said, we moved from Tennessee. We moved from Louisville, Kentucky on to Tennessee, and now I'm starting to get known for sports. I'm starting to get known for wrestling. I'm starting to get known for basketball and track, that my hands are quick. So I even tried to do a little boxing. Boxing really wasn't my greatest sport. I mean, I could hit, I could punch, I was fast, but I didn't like that feeling of being punched in the nose and then my eyes watered up and start crying. But in high school, when I finally got to high school, man, high school was challenging because I found the love for the sport of wrestling, but I stayed in trouble. I stayed in trouble so much that come junior year, I got an award. It was called the Turnaround Student Award. Come to find out, every teacher in the entire school building, it was a vote for who was gonna get it. I was so bad that every teacher, when I started changing my life around, every teacher voted that I needed that award, 100% award. But you know how kids are. That year, they're like, oh, he's done changed, this and that. Senior year comes, you get in one little trouble, you get in one little argument. Somebody always, you ain't changed. And I always say, I need to revert back to the person that I was. Fighting again. But, and the story goes on, because I still love fighting. It carried on from elementary to middle school to high school to struggling to get any kind of school because I had built up a reputation. Slapping you for no reason. But who is Maurice? Maurice still, even though there is the fighter in me. The fight carried on through the rest of my life, but I'm a loving person. I'm a comedian. Like I said, I'll fight you and tell jokes with you at the same time. That's who Maurice is. So who is Maurice? Let's see. After the high school life, like after I got into the sports, after I was doing all that fighting, I still was able to get a scholarship to college on a wrestling scholarship. Man, it wasn't a full scholarship, but it was a partial scholarship. So I got to college. I did my thing in wrestling, did my thing in sports. But some things started to shift as I was leaving college one day. I was on my way to work, and walking to work, my job was like maybe 5 miles away from the school. But I'm in shape. I think I can just go anywhere in the world. I'm walking to work, and a recruiter from the military pulled me over and said, "Hey, man, you need a ride?" And I'm thinking, first of all, this dude don't know me, but I didn't really want to walk that day because I had just left wrestling practice. I jump in the car anyway because in my mind I'm thinking, man, I'm an athlete, I'm a dude. If push comes to shove, I can probably take this dude anyway. So of course I jump in the car with him. He's giving me a ride to work, and he's like, "Man, so what's your plans in life?" He said, "What you going to school for?" I was like, "Man, I'm going to school for sports medicine and this, and I'm going to work with athletes and stuff." He said, "Bro, because you get a 4-year degree, don't mean you're going to get a job out there in that field." He said, "Matter of fact, because you get a 4-year degree, don't mean you're going to get a job at all." And in my mind, I'm thinking, man, this dude tripping. But I'm listening to him. He gave me a little card and everything. He's like, "Call me, man, if you need." And I'm getting to work. So now this summer, and the summertime come, and I'm back home. And I'm looking around with everything that's going on, friends, different people I used to hang with, people I used to get in trouble with, different things. I'm like, everybody's doing the same thing that the recruiter said that they was gonna do. So I immediately called him. I was like, "Bro, I heard what you're saying, man." Everything came back to me. I was like, "Call me." I was like, "Get me out of here." Of course, I go to the military now. The first day I get there, we got what they call the yellow footprints. When you step off the bus, everything, like 30 drill instructors seem like they just come rushing at you, hollering in your ear. It's like a shock. They put you on the yellow footprints, and that's when my new life seemed to begin. But of course, things that carried over, the fighting, the women, everything while I was in the military. I'm chasing women here and there. And it's not super bad, but it's worse than what it was in college and in high school. Then I get into this real bad wreck. And so in this wreck, I'm learning how to, I'm in the hospital off and on for a year initially. I'm learning how to walk again. I'm learning how to talk again. I have like 18 to 20 surgeries. I got a rod in my arm when I crushed it. I got a rod in my leg when I crushed it. See, I crushed everything from head to toe. Had a trach in my neck for upcoming surgeries for 5 years. And then even my eyeball that came out, but it was sitting right here on the inside of my cheek by a nerve, and doctors couldn't even explain it. How come it didn't just fall off? So, but they able to get it back in place, even though the socket and the muscles around the eye has been messed up. So I can use this eye if I lift it up with my finger manually, but I can't do it on my own. So sometimes when my depth perception has been thrown off, but I'm thanking God still for vision. My different, so things look a lot closer than what they are. And even my ear has a skin graft on it. So I got one ear that I can hear out of, but at the same time, I can still hear it, and I'm grateful. But if you call my name, something like that, 9 times out of 10, I don't know what direction the sound is coming from. So I'm looking around, you calling my name, yeah. It's because of the issues that I'm just trying to adapt to. You know, my mom, eventually she moved into the hospital with me. She moved into the hospital with me. The doctors and the nurses didn't have to do anything. My mom was able to get me back up off my feet. Even times I was struggling, she's like, "Boy, don't you want to get out of here?" She used to stay in my ear with gospel music, with inspiration, with just speaking life into me. And so now I'm out of the hospital, I'm back on my feet. I'm still a little unstable in my walking. So I done went from a cane to a walker to different things trying to get my stability back. Like even when I was in the hospital, it was such a struggle that sometimes it took a whole hour for me just to put on a t-shirt. But again, like I said, I'm back out of the hospital, I'm on my feet. And now I finally see my face. I see my scars. And when I see my face and I see my scars, I'm like, wow. What God brought me through. And I'm grateful, like I said, for the foundation growing up in the church that my mom taught me. It wasn't there where I really needed to be. And so you could think that now I've been in this real bad car wreck. Oh, now Maurice really want to change his life around. Maurice really want to be a better person. Maurice really want to do this and start to think positive. And yeah, my mindset changed, but it went more closer into the dark hole than the positive. So now I'm wearing dark glasses, trying to cover up my scars. Now I'm wearing three-piece suits, not because I'm trying to be religious or man of faith, but yeah, I'm trying to hide the scars on my arm. I'm trying to hide the scars on my leg. I'm wearing a suit and tie because I'm trying to hide the trait that was in my neck. So I'm so-called trying to fit in, which as men and women of God, we were never called to just fit in. We was called to be a beacon of light and stand out and make a difference and make an impact. But because I see the scars now, I'm trying to fit in, still trying to find my identity in women. Oh, women over and over, women this, women that. This time now it went to a whole nother level where I'm studying women. I'm studying women to the point where I felt like I know exactly what your swag was or what kind of conversation I had with you just by the way that you walk. It's to the point where I was getting tired. Man, I was getting tired because I was having to go to the same movie over and over again. I was getting tired where it was costing me money buying all the same gifts for different women, trying to be a player. And I really wasn't no player. I was a punk, if you will. See, a player has women sitting around together on his birthday, trying to figure out what they're gonna get him for his birthday. I was a punk because I was afraid for any of my female friends to find out about one another. So yeah, I was a punk. There wasn't no real player. So if anything came, I'm going different places and I'm turning off my phone because I don't want my phone to ring. I'm going to different neighborhoods where I was associated with one female and associated with another female. So now I gotta sneak out the house and so-called put my car in gear, push it down the street so it won't start up and wake somebody else up that I already knew. So I was just doing different things because again, I was looking for my identity. I was trying to find a void. And all this time, I did not realize that my identity was in Christ. Like I said, I had never been taught. I seen religion. I seen how people worship. I seen, but I wasn't necessarily taught that. So I was dealing with the ABT, ain't being taught. But as things continue to go on, now I'm in different relationships, in and out of relationship. In and out of a relationship with me had a 3-month probation period. Not because I gave them a certain amount of time, but it seemed like within 2 or 3 months, they seemed like they was getting too close. And I didn't want nobody to in my inner circle to know that I was a person that cried sometimes. I was a person that hurt sometimes. I was a person that in pain sometimes. But that's really who I am, a person that's real. So what I did, started telling jokes and doing comedy, doing different stuff like that because I was looking for avenues to so-called fit in. Now I'm trying to fit in with this person, trying to fit in with that person. And the truth of the matter is, most of the places that we try to fit in, we don't even belong. But the women, it was women, it was women, it was women. It got to the point then I started trying to get in church instead of going to the club every night. So now my all-time high, my all-time addiction of women has gotten worse. So now I see the women in church. So I'm hopping from church to church, church to church, because I can see the women now. But this time the lights are on, so I can see them from head to toe. Man, it got to the point where I was learning scripture, talking to women, learning the Bible, not to grow as a person, but so I can use scriptures to so-called quote unquote, manipulate women, say stuff like, oh, baby, our spirits are connected. And I see, our future together, that we can do ministry together, me and you. And this is the different stuff that I'm working on at the time, where I'm writing lines. Now I'm studying lines. I'm studying everything you can about a woman's size, a woman's walk, a woman's conversation. So who I am at this moment, I am still a person, still trying to find my identity, because there was a void, and there's a void in women. So I prayed on my way to different things, but I prayed, Lord, don't strike me down as I'm trying to learn who you are in this situation.
All right.
So who is Maurice now? I told you I was in the car wreck. I was in the hospital, this and that. And when I got out, when I seen myself, instead of going to the positive side, you would think I would want to do better. And I did. I tried to do better, chasing as many women as possible. But I got to the point where I got tired. I was praying, Lord, I just want a godly woman. And the Lord sent me a godly woman. He sent me somebody that loves God more than he loves me. But because I didn't recognize it, because I was still looking for her to be a 304. If you spell 304 backwards, it can spell another word. I was still looking for her to do all the different tricks and all the different things. So I didn't respect what God had sent for me. The Lord said, Maurice, you was praying for a godly woman, but it was just lip service. But at the time, I was sending you somebody and preparing somebody for your heart issues. So when I get into a marriage, because it's not who I think it is or what I think it is, now those issues that I was never healed from when it came to women, man, I put my wife through so many different things, and she forgave me. I done hurt my wife so many different times, and she forgave me. The Lord said to me, one thing he said, Maurice, you don't realize that your wife is the closest thing to the Holy Spirit that you have in your household. He said, why you think I do everything on purpose and intention? When I named her help, that's the same thing I named the Holy Spirit, help. He said, when I presented her to you and I gave her to you as a gift, that's the same thing I named the Holy Spirit, a gift. He said, so all that stuff that you was doing, the conversations that you was having, a lot of stuff your wife knew about it. She just needs you to be open and honest and come to her so she can love you through it. She said, ain't the same way I am. All the stuff that you do, the things that you think, I know it all. I just need you to come to me and be honest so I can love you through it. So who is Maurice? Maurice is a male by birth, but a man by choice. A lot of people call me Mo now, Big Mo, but Mo, what my mentor says is, because I've grown, Mo stands for, is M-O-E, I'm a man of excellence. And no, it's not that I'm perfect, but as I'm continuing to grow as a man of excellence, I'm still a man learning to be more of a man so I can teach other men how to be men of excellence, so I can teach other men how to be men. I'm working on a book now. It's just a brief synopsis of part of my life story. The name of the book is called Shift. The Shift, the moment my life was flipped. And initially I thought it was going to be talking about the car wreck. But what it is starts off talking about the car wreck initially, and then it leads up to all the events up to the car wreck, which basically the Lord was showing me there were so many different times my life was flipping leading up to the car wreck. But the main thing my life flipped leading up to the car wreck was 2 days before the car wreck, I was on my knees in a place. I was really truly giving my life back to the Lord. And while everybody else thought it was entertainment, I was giving my life back to the Lord for real. So 2 days later, the enemy didn't like it. He tried to take me out, but he should have took me out when he had a chance. But up to date now I'm married. My wife married me with the scars. She married me. My wife said she never even seen the scars. Married, 4 kids, 3 children. And my wife told me, now, she said, baby, for the man that you have become, she said, for the man that you have become, I'm so proud of you. She said, but not only that, for the man that you have become, all the stuff that you took me through, all the hurt that you took me through, all the pain that you took me through, for the man that you have become, I will go through that all over again. So now me and my wife's relationship, now as we continue to grow together in ministry. We're one now, and it was all because I had to shift. See, 10 times out of 10, when a household is out of order, the head of the household is out of order. I'm talking about me. So who is Maurice? Maurice is an inspiring speaker. Maurice is a man, teaching other men how to be men, and a growing inspirational speaker, growing motivational speaker, a growing transformational speaker, and an author. Y'all be blessed. So who am I, America? I'm Brother Maurice Thomas, or you can call me Big Mo. I have recently been back to school and gotten 3 degrees. I have an associate's degree in business. I have a associate's degree in accounting, which I'm an extreme extrovert, so you're not gonna see me crunching numbers all day because I've been over crazy. And then I also have a bachelor's degree in business administration. So I want to tell you this, no matter what it looks like, with God, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So continue to keep on pressing, continue to keep on moving forward, and I guarantee you'll get your light to move forward. Y'all be blessed.
We're grateful for who God is. That list of names given, holy and mighty and all of that, that's just the beginning of things. When Jesus was jousting with the Pharisees, Jesus made it clear to them that when you start talking about me, you're talking about something that surpasses Abraham. Because before Abraham was, he said, my name is I am. In other words, when you open up the book to look at all of the good things that a person can possibly be mighty and triumphant and awesome and holy, he says that that's just the beginning of it. He had to close the book when trying to describe himself and just said, I am. Start your roll of names of all the things I am. That's just the beginning. There is no single word that encompasses all that God is. That's why when you are on his side, when you make a commitment to him, you can't possibly lose. Because he just am. Not was, that would signify that at some point he started being that, and at some point he might stop being that. He says, go back to the beginning of time, and the page before that, I still am. Go off into the future, and I am. I just always am. I'm not confined to any space of time. I'm not just one picture. I'm the whole movie. I go back before the movie starts. I just am. That's why in John, where he says, in the beginning was the Word, it really isn't in the beginning.